Hey everybody, it's Christos here, and today we're going to be bringing you a new deck list. This is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it a lot. This is my alt account, by the way, so this one's only like gold 3, gold 4, so just be aware of that. It's not platinum just yet, but the deck has been outstanding, so do understand that. And yes, this is my alt account. Like I said before in one of my other videos, Master Duel is very expensive, so like making a new deck for videos and stuff does cost, and so just be aware of that. I got some other decks in the works, but my main profile and this one, so just kind of bear with me on that until we get until I get something more figured out. But enough rambling, let's get into the deck itself. And today we're going to be bringing you guys Infernities. Infernity is a really cool archetype, all revolves around having no hand whatsoever. So the whole idea is you want no cards in your hand, and the effects will pop off like crazy, and a lot of these have no once per turn on them whatsoever, or a soft once per turn, and it's like Necro here. Like I said, these cards are really good, and anyway, I hope you all enjoy them, and let's get into the video. So, for the card by card list, so first off we got Infernity Mirage. Just one of them. It's not the best card, but it does come up every now and then. It can't be special summoned from the graveyard, which is the huge issue with this card. But if you have no cards in your hand, you can tribute this card to target 2 Infernity monsters in your graveyard and special summon them. So you could easily special summon a Necro and like an Archfiend, and those effects will start going off. Necro could summon, Archfiend could search. Like I said, this card is really good, but it does have its downsides. I'll only run one of them just in case. Then we got Infernity Avenger. By far the coolest artwork, by the way, ever. I do love the artwork of this. This card is a one of. When a monster you control except itself is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster sent to the graveyard while you have no cards in your hand, and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, and if you do, the level becomes the original level of the destroyed monster. And it's a tuner. Doesn't come up that often, but it does every now and then. And like I said, just to be able to level moderate that way, it's just crazy. And the floating effect is actually really good. Definitely worth running. So then we got Infernity Stage. During your main phase, you can discard your entire hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send one Infernity monster from your deck to your graveyard. You must control no cards in your hand to activate and resolve this effect. Just the fact that you can discard your entire hand, so like you do brick sometimes with a bunch of monsters, Sage kind of fixes that issue. Yeah, just be aware. By the way, the caveat to that is like you can set some of your spells, like your Paranor, your Allures and stuff like that. So if you just want to get rid of the monsters, set all your spells first, Then just one run Sage, by the way. It's not the best card, but having another Infernity name does come up. Then we got 2 Necromancer. This card is the key card of this deck. Run 2 of them. It is definitely worth it. You're going to love it. When this card is normal summoned, you can change it to defense position. While you have no cards in your hand, this card gains the following effect. Once per turn, you can target 1 Infernity monster in your graveyard, except itself, and special summon it. Now, this is a soft once per turn, by the way. So, like, if you could loop Necromancer, you could just keep on bringing cards back. It's really good. I definitely advise, using it. Yeah, like I said, definitely use it. And Necromancer with cards like Archfiend together are just broken, and you could get into some really crazy plays. It's really cool. And, yeah, definitely, like I said, run 2 of them. Then we got some dangers here. We got 2 Danger Jackalope and 3 Danger Takatsunuki. You guys know my pronunciation. I'm not going to try it. But anyway, we've got 5 dangerous total. These cards, in reality, what you want them to do is, A, they could discard cards from your hand, so they could get rid of cards, which is good. And depending on what you want, stuff like that. Either A, you can reveal this card from your hand. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 card from your entire hand. Then you could discard the chosen card. And like I said, it's really good because you don't want cards in your hand in the first place. Then, if the discard card was this card, Danger Jackalope, you can special summon 1 Danger Jackalope from your hand. And if you do, draw 1 card. So yeah, like I said, if they do select it, they pick to discard it. If they pick that, you can just special summon it right away. Really good. Then you could draw a card, and if this card is discarded, you can special summon one danger monster from your deck in defense position. So like I said, no matter what happens, either you're drawing a card or you're special summoning it. Really good card. Definitely run 2 of them. Then we got 3 of these dangers. Not going to try and pronounce the name. I don't understand why this card is unlimited. Why in the TCG it's limited to 1 copy, I believe. This card at 3 is just fucking insane. Just like all the other dangers, you could reveal this card in your hand. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 card from your entire hand. Then you discard the chosen card. Then if the discarded card was not this card, you could special summon 1 danger card from your hand. And if you do, draw 1 card. If this card is discarded, you can special summon this card. You can only use the effect of Danger Tuscaroni once per turn. So like I said, you're really using them to you could set your whole cards, get your Infernities on the card, on the field, then use its effect so it only could discard itself. Then you could special summon it. You know what I mean? You have more cards on the field to go and see who he plays, or you could just have a full hand of monsters and just start wanting to start discarding cards and stuff like that. Anyway, it's really good. Definitely run the danger package. You could run one more, by the way, if you really wanted to. Like you could throw in like an SC or even a Bigfoot. But I find like these 5 are plenty, so just an FYI. Then back to the Infernities, we got 1 Infernity Conjurer. While you have no cards in your hand, monsters your opponent control loses 800 attack. While you have no cards in your hand and this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when leaves the field. You're not using this card for the attack reduction. You're using it because it's a good floater. So the idea is like you could, you know, if it's already in your graveyard in the first place, like Foolish and stuff like that, what you could do is like Necro it onto the field. You know, link off or link it off with another card, or even synchro it off with another card, and at that point you could bring it right back again to your field to continue your plays. So it's really good, recurring. Definitely run runnable. Then for a really good highlight of the deck, something I was actually not expecting to do so well, is Infernity Wildcat. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending 1 other Infernity monster in your hand to the graveyard. You can only special summon Wildcat once per turn this way. While you have no cards in your hand, you can banish 1 Infernity monster from your graveyard and increase or decrease this level by 1. This card is just amazing. It gets, you know, gets rid of cards in your hand. It special summons itself, and on top of that, it does, you know, you can banish Infernity monsters in your graveyard that you don't need anymore, and increase its level to level 4, and that goes into your level 8s really quickly. Just an FYI, this card is just amazing. Run 3 of them, you won't be disappointed. Then we got 1 Armageddon Knight. We're using Armageddon Knight for the simple fact of sending more dark monsters from your deck to the graveyard. What you want to be sending is like Archfiends, Wildcat's a good option. Yeah, like I said, that's what you're doing. You're just wanting to send those to the Conjurer's another good option. So yeah, these wanted to send that to the, you know, that's only these what this is here for. Or you could actually use it as a banish target for like a Lore of Darkness. Just an FYI, like a Lore of Darkness, you could banish Knight and stuff like that. So then for the most broken card in the deck, I don't understand why this card is at 3 copies. It doesn't need to be at 3 copies whatsoever. So this card, what it does is if you draw this card, if you have no other cards in your hand, you can reveal this card and special summon this card from your hand. You're never going to be using that effect, by the way. It comes up every now and then, but disregard it. What this card does do, though, is when this card is special summoned, you could add 1 Infernity card from your deck to your hand. You must have no cards in your hand to activate and resolve this effect. Now, you're already noticing there's no once per turn on this card whatsoever. So ideally, if you special summon this, no matter how you special summon it, by the way, from Monster Reborn, from Necro, from Infernity Launcher, it will continue getting its effect of being able to search cards. So like you can special summon it, get Infernity Launcher, use Infernity Launcher to, you know, bring that and that. You can link them off. Use Launcher's effect, get rid of Launcher, summon back these 2 cards. Arching's effect for search, you get another Infernity card like Barrier or any of the other ones. Then Necros, you could use Necros effect again to yet again special summon a other card from your graveyard. It is stupidly broken, and I don't understand how this card is at 3 copies in this game, but it is. So we're gonna fucking abuse it while we can. Now, we got some more Infernity cards. Sorry for my rant there. The other ones we got is Parish, what was it, Partratch, and then we got one General. These two are one-ofs. They're not that great, but this one is, it's the only card in your hand. You could special summon it. You can only special summon Infernity Parchment once per turn this way, while you have no cards in your hand. If an Infernity monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, while this, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. It's nice protection, but you're really doing it because, like I said, it's easy to like have this card plus like, you know, Necro in your hands and have like Foolish, Monster, or, you know what I mean, like some other spell combinations. You could set all your spells, normal summon Necro, special summon Perish right away, and you know, you're off to the races at that point, no matter what you want to do. So it is nice to have. Just a one-off. It's a good extender, so yeah, can't complain. Then we got one General. If you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 2 level 3 or lower Infernity monsters in your graveyard, special summon them, but their effects are negated. But yet again, you can special 2 level 3 or lowers. Usually you wouldn't be special summoning like a Wildcat and a Necro. Their effects are negated, but that goes into level 6 right away. So, you know, this it's not bad. It just allows you to get more Synchron monsters on the field right away, and it's pretty nice for that one reason. So then for the spells, we got Card Destruction. Both players discard as many cards as possible from the hand, that each player draws the same number of cards. This card's really good because it gets rid of bricked hands. If you do brick for some reason a bunch of monsters, you can't just summon with Card Destruction. You can just get rid of all of that, draw new hands, and just go from there. One monster reburn. It's a great extender. Like I said, you could use it for Archfiend to get a search. You could use it on Necromancer to continue using effect. Yeah, it's a great card as an extender, and it continues your plays. One Foolish Burial. It's good to stuff thin off the deck, and on top of that, you can send Archfiend, Wildcat to the graveyard are good options. Even cards like General is a good option to send. So just so you know, it's a good card. We got 3 Allure of Darkness. We're running 3 because we can. As simple as that. It's good draw power. This card, like this deck, likes to get draw as many cards as possible. If you give this deck an inch, it will take a mile. You know, so abuse that concept. This card is you can draw 2 cards and banish 1 dark monster from your hand. If you do not, you have to discard your entire hand. That's not really an issue. That side effect, because like I said, you want no hand in the first place. And the banishing 1 dark monster, your whole deck is dark, so that's no issue. We got 1 for 1. You could send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. We have a couple options. You know, we have Avenger, and Mirage. So we do have some options for that. Doesn't come up that often, but it is a nice way to, like I said, you know, get rid of your hand even more. And you get special summon cards, which, like I said, it does come up, so can't complain. Definitely worth running at least 1. Then we got 3 Into the Void. Yet again, I don't know why this card is allowed at 3 copies in this game. This deck is abusing that quite a bit, if you're noticing. But yet again, if you have 3 more cards in your hand, draw 1 card. And then if you do, during the end phase of this turn, discard your entire hand. So like I said, Into the Void's amazing. You could draw a card, and you're not caring about the discard effect. There is no downside of this card. It's a free it's a free you know, hand neutral. So like I said, you could just draw a card, and you could continue plays like normal. No ands if buts about it. It's amazing. Definitely, if you have it, run 3 of these. They're amazing. Then we got 1 Infernity Paranoia. You can tribute 1 dark monster, special 1 Infernity monster from your deck or graveyard at the same level, but a different name, but it negates an effect. So that part sucks, the negate part, but you can switch out 1 Infernity to the other. So like if you know, just if you have Conjure, you don't want to Conjure, you can get rid of it and to get a Wildcat, you know. By the way, that effect, you shoot 1 dark monster. It's not just an Infernity, so you can tribute, you know, a danger card to get Wildcat, you know. You could tribute Jackalope, you know. So like I said, it's not a once per turn whatsoever. I mean, it's not just 2 Infinities. So then it has a graveyard effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Infernity monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's a nice little float to get cards like your you know, your Necromancers back to your hand really easily. Then we got 1 Contact with the Void. I'm probably going to be cutting this, by the way. I don't know what I'm going to add to its place, but it's not the greatest card, but it does come up every now and then. If you have 3 or more cards in your hand, discard your entire hand. Then you could special summon one Infernity monster or one level 8 Dark Synchro monster from your deck. From your graveyard, my bad. So like I said, it does discard your entire hand, which is really good for this deck because like I said, you don't want a hand. Then you could special summon one Infernity monster from your graveyard. That is really good because like I said, you can go into like your Archfiends or your Necromancers. The issue is opening up this card for like your turn 1 plays really sucks. But like I said, it's not bad. Definitely worth running at least one of them. If you do want to cut it, that's perfectly up to you, but like I said, definitely I think it's worth at least running one. Then we got the most broken spell in the game, Infernity Launcher. This card is busted. Once per turn, you can send one Infernity monster from your hand to the graveyard, and that's a once per turn, by the way. Then you could send this card to the graveyard to target up to 2 Infernity monsters from your graveyard, special summon them. You must control no monsters in your hand to activate and resolve this effect. So like I said, it's a monster reborn for 2 monsters right away. And like I said, you can reborn your Necros to even get more cards, your Archfiends to even get more cards. It's stupidly good. Definitely get it. Also, Archfiend can search it out really quickly, so even having one of it doesn't fucking matter. You could get it out in turn 1 really easily. It's really good. Then we got 3 Void Apocalypses. So this card's really interesting. I don't know how I feel about it, but I do like it a lot. So you could discard 1 card, send 1 Fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard, and that's all you're doing it for. Its whole second effect doesn't apply to you. So what this card does is it gets rid of your hand even more. So if you do have too many monsters, it gets rid of it. Then you could send 1 from your deck to the graveyard. You could send your Archfiends, your Wildcats, your Parchments, your Generals, your Sages. Like I said, you could send anything you want to the graveyard. It sets up your graveyard really easily, and it gets rid of your hand size. So it's a very good card. You definitely want to open with this every time. Then we got 3 Infernity Barriers. This card's an Omni-Negate if you have a face-up attack position Infernity. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card or monster effect while you control a face-up attack position Infernity monster, and you have no cards in your hand, negate the activation. It's really good. Definitely worth at least running 3 of them. Then for our 40th card, we got 1 Infinite Permanence. Simple as that. If you have anything better, run it instead. You could cut this for Called by the Grave. If you wanted to cut down on a Lord of Darknesses or something like that, like have 2 instead of 3, have 2 Called bys. That's perfectly fine. So yeah, this is what I'm running. I've been loving it. It's been a really fun deck to climb up rank, and yeah, I hope you all enjoy the games in a bit. But we'll go over the extra deck really quickly. We got 3 Doom Archfiends. You could target 1 card on the field, negate its effects. Then if you do that, if you have no cards in your hand, you can destroy it. While you have no cards in your hand, this card battles an opponent's monster. Any battle damage the card inflicts is doubled. You don't need 3 of them. Just having 1 or 2 would just be fine. If you have 3, run it, doesn't hurt. We got 1 FA Dawn Dragster. It negates spell trap cards by reducing its level. We got 1 Infinity Doom Dragon. Once per turn, you have no cards in hand. You could target 1 monster and destroy it. You got 1 Void Ogre. Once per turn, when an opponent activates a spell or trap card, when you control no cards in your hand, you can negate the activation. 1 Borlode Savage. You could equip 1 Link monster from your graveyard to gain counters on this card, and you can remove counters to negate effects or spells and traps. Really good card, by the way. Definitely run it. We got 1 Ravinacious Crook. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. This card gains 500 attack and defense for each card in your hand, so it's always going to be at 1,000 basically. But what this card can do, if this card is Circle Summon, you could draw cards equal to the number of non-tuners used for its Synchron material, which is usually going to be like 2. Then quick effect, you could discard 2 cards, then target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So you could draw 2 cards, then if you really wanted to, you could discard it, pop cards on the field. Or use those cards, if they're like a lore, or, what I mean, whatever they were. It's really good. It's not the best card. You do go in it every now and then. Definitely run 1 of them. Then we got 1 Red Supernova Dragon. Surprisingly, you can make this card. It's not the greatest, but you can make it. Can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Once per turn, when the opponent monster effect is activated, or when a monster's opponent monster effect occurs an attack, you could activate this effect, banish this card. Also banish all cards your opponent controls. Then once protecting your next end phase after this card is banished by its own effect, special summon this banished card. It's a really good board wipe. You can go into it every now and then, but it's just here for the 15th slot, to be honest with you. We got one number 60. This card doesn't really come up that often, but you can detach 2 materials from this card, then activate one of the following effects. You can skip your next draw phase, also draw 2 cards and discard 1. You're using it for that effect right there, basically. Or you can skip your next main phase 1, also special summon 1 monster in your graveyard. This one you go into quite often because you can actually skip your main phase 1, and go straight to main phase 2, get back Necromancer, and just continue off your plays like that. You can also skip your next battle phase, you're never doing that effect. Just the first 2. We got one Crystron Halaku Firebrax, definitely worth it. If you have 2 cards on the field, you can link them off to Crystron, and you can special summon for your deck like a Wildcat, and that could even extend your plays in further. So just so you know, it's a decent card. Then we got one Nightmare Cerberus, one Nightmare Phoenix. One gets rid of special summon monsters, the other one gets rid of spells and traps. One Apollosa Bow above the Goddess. This card is amazing. You easily could get this out on turn 1, no problem. Then we got one tech card, which I actually been really enjoying. It is Underworld Goddess of the Closed Ward. This card is fucking amazing, and I gotta say, I've been loving it. You can choose one monster your opponent controls as material for this card, which is amazing. This card is linked summon, you negate all face-up effects of your opponent they controls. Then this linked summon card is unaffected by the opponent's activated effects unless they target this card. Then once per turn, when opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster from your graveyard, you can negate the activation. This card is amazing, and it wins games on its own, no problem. So like I said, there's the deck. I hope you all enjoy, and we'll go into I think one game. I think one game against Blue Eyes, maybe 2. But anyway, like I said, I do hope you all enjoy this, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and have a good night, everybody. All right, so like I said, this is early, like low-level rank, so still in gold, matte platinum. Do be advised of that, but like I said, this is still a lot of fun. I do hope you all enjoy. So I actually started, so my opponent started, he sets 2, activates Protector of the Eyes, activates really interesting cards. Like this whole play is just interesting. He first summons Protector of the Eyes, then Pin summons. He activates Gingerbread House, which is an interesting tech card to say the least. Then on top of that, he activates Cup of Ace. So he lost the die roll. I draw more cards. This aggravates the hell out of me because now I got to make sure all this goes. So first off, I activate Foolish Burial. First Burial, sending Archfiends. I activated Wildcat's effect by discarding Rouge. And then I normal summon Conjurer. At this point, I Synchron off into a Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix effect will activate by getting rid of Parchment to discard me to destroy his back row. I Monster Reborn the Archfiend. At this point, I fucked up. I should have set Monster Reborn face down and Paranoid face down and waited for my next turn because I still have a card in my hands. I totally forgot, and I got punished for it. He mirrored first, got rid of both my cards. I'm still feeling pretty confident, can't complain too much. He activates Performative House Silver Claw, and at this point he attacks for quite a bit of damage. I'm feeling pretty good. At this point he's linking off into Suija, the Sword Swag, Surge Sage. He didn't read his own card, he should have just kept that in attack, but hey, can't read your cards, can't blame me. At this point, I set a Lord of Darkness, I activate Necromancer. Necromancer's effect will go off. I do summon back the Archfield. Archfield effect get me Infinity Launcher. I use Infinity Launcher. And at this point, I use Conjure effects. Conjure effect will come back. Activate Paramount. Paramount will get rid of Conjurer. Get the Wildcats. At this point, I activate Wildcat. Forgot it was negated. I am misplaying like crazy here, but it happens. I do Synchro off for FA Dawn Dragster. I activate Infinity Launcher effect to get 2 cards, Wild Hat and Archfiend back. Archfiend's effect will kick off. I do get Barrier. I end up setting Barrier or Lure of Darkness. I do discard the Sage, set the card destruction, and I attack. I feel pretty good. I have a spell Trap Mitigate, and I got quite a bit of cards on the field. So my opponent draws a card, can't do anything, it's my go. At this point, I activate Dangerous Effect, it will discard itself, and at this point, I can just special summon itself back from the graveyard. Wildcats, I'll ban one to increase its level by 4, then I synchro off into Barrel Load Savage Dragon. Savage Dragon's effect will activate, and I link off into Link. Like I said, at this point, I'm kind of BMing. I do have game on the build, but it happens. So I equipped Nightmare Phoenix to it to give him 2 counters. I use a Necromancer's effect to bring back Archfiend. At this point, Archfiend's effect, and I'll get Paramorph. Paramoid will go off, this destroying Danger, bring back Wildcat. Then I synchro off yet for a level synchro for level 6, and then I attack for again. I could have just stopped at blower load, but hey, I like to, BM just a little bit if I can. Yeah, that was it. Like I said, this deck is really explosive. You give it an inch, it will take it. So we'll do one more game against Synchron, and I hope everybody's enjoying. All right. So this game is against Synchron, and this was an interesting one. I probably would have lost if he just drew a little better. So I go first. I activate Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial will end up getting Ash Blossoms, which kind of sucks. But it's not the end of the world. I'm feeling pretty confident still. So I'm going to let that get ashed at this point. I'm going to activate Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness effect, I'll draw 2. I do get rid of the Avenger. I set Barrier, activate Necromancer, activate Danger, hoping it was going to discard the other one, but it didn't. Kind of sucks. So I special summon Danger, then with Parchment's effect, I can special summon it from my hand. But like I said, I wanted it to discard because I have nothing to bring back. At this point, I realized there's a big flaw of this deck. I have no Link 3s whatsoever. I should probably get like Blacklusted Soldier or something like that and throw it in this deck. So like, this is what I'm talking about. Like if you wanted to get rid of like one of those Archfiend cards I have 3 of, just you can. So he amnestied my back row if you didn't catch that. And at this point, he brings back Martial Metal. It's a special summoning like crazy. I'm like, this is interesting. He brings back Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron's effect, he'll get a Chunk Synchron. At this point, he ends his turn. I'm like, that was weird. He probably could have done more. I draw card destruction, not the best. At this point, I do link off to Nightmare Cerberus. Nightmare Cerberus effect, I would discard my card destruction, get rid of his. Now Nightmare Necromancer will go off. I do bring back. At this point, I link off even his card, and I believe get Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is amazing, and I now attack for 3,000. And this is what I'm saying. I was able to link off his Jet Synchron to get the 4 cards on field, which is why this card's really good. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident. I don't think he can really do anything. He activates Synchron Carrier to get Junk Synchron. I do negate that because I can. Not sure if it's the best play, but I'm just going to try to stop him to get more advantage. At this point, he's going to synchro off to a level 5 to Junk Speeder. Junk Speeder's effect will kick in, and he will start special summoning mini tuners. At this point, I'm not sure exactly what he's going to go into. Then he synchros off into Stardust Dragon. Stardust Dragon's still not big enough to do anything. He activates Regeki. Regeki doesn't target, so it doesn't get destroyed. Jet Synchron's effect, he discards to bring it back. And he has no more plays. I'm like, that's interesting. I do draw a Allure of Darkness. I use a Allure of Darkness to draw 2. I get Archfiend, discard 1 Archfiend, and I summon 1. I attack over the Stardust Dragon. Archfiend attack for 1, and then I'm going to end my turn. I'm feeling pretty confident because he can't really out my Underworld Goddess no matter what he does. So, and at that point, he's going to concede. Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably going to have another video in the future with some like platinum games. So look forward to that. This deck does do really, really well, and I do hope everybody enjoyed. And yeah, have a good night, everybody.